Welcome to Rope Dart Basics by Full Circle Phenomenal. Be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and sponsor a video for more in-depth lessons.
What's up, Flomies? Jesse Hart here. Welcome to the Full Circle Phenomenal channel, and welcome to Perito Moreno Glacier in Argentina. Catherine, Prana, and I are almost all the way to the southern tip of South America, Tierra del Fuego, on the Unite the World Firsthand Drive Around the Whole World global movement. Be sure to subscribe as well as hit that notification bell. We'll be releasing new videos every single week. We'd love to have you along. Today we're going to be covering one of my favorite props, the rope dart. Now it's not going to get too complicated today as we have a lot to cover. These are just the basics in order to get into the body mechanics of it all and grow your new motor skills. I've provided you a menu right here with all the different lessons. If you're not able to cover them all today, come back to it on a later date. Save this video and jump around at your leisure. Keep going over these as this is going to interconnect us with all the different rope dart tricks. Let's get started.
First and foremost, it's massively important that we warm up the original props, that being the mind, body, and breath. So let's put down our rope dart and start it up with a warm-up. Won't take too much time and will increase your learning curve, decrease your injury potential. Bring your feet to hip distance apart, which is actually also shoulder distance. We'll set up a good standing posture with even amount of pressure in both feet, knees slightly bent, pelvis tucked under and forwards, navel in and up, chest lifts, and the crown as if suspended from a string hangs from the sky, elongating the spine. Shoulders and head back, chin slightly to chest, arms relaxed at our sides. Go ahead and breathe into this standing posture and begin to get familiar with it. Steadily in through the nose, and either out through the nose or out through the mouth. Be sure to breathe full body breaths all the way from your low abdomen up through your entire torso. And then we'll bring the hands in and smooth out our energy field, breathing in as the hands lift up the midline and exhale slowly out the nose as our hands go out the outside edges of what's known as the torus or toroidal field. Inhale, hands up and through the midline. Fill the lungs and stretch before exhaling, hands down the outside edges. One more time in this direction. This is the fire direction, so visualize a fire burning through you, burning through anything unserving your physical, emotional, or mental self, and exhale out the smoke. Then inhale up to your heart center, and let's reverse it. Bring the energy down the midline, relax the arms, and inhale, float them up to the sky in the water direction, collecting into clouds, and exhale, rain down through, and scan through your body from your head all the way down to the feet. Nice and slow, breathing in once again, collecting that water-based life force energy, and exhale, let's move it through as conscious energy throughout the entire body. One more time, full breath in, and full breath out, harmonizing your mental, emotional, and physical self. This will help greatly moving through the practice. Then we'll clear the ground, bending at elbows, rotating the hands in small circles, and then center our energy in the low abdomen with the palm over palm connection. Take a moment just to check in, notice how you're feeling, and consciously breathe to any space you feel calling for it. All right, and then adjust the clothes, walk in place, shake it out, get comfortable. Let's get into a good stretch now. Inhale, bring your hands up and overhead, grab your right wrist, and exhale, pull it to the left side. Pull it all the way over, get a good side stretch. Inhale, open up your shoulder and chest, maybe look up, and then exhale, further over, further down. Make sure you have an even amount of pressure in both feet, not leaning too far into one. Hold here for a breath, and then inhale, rise back up. Switch and grab the left wrist, and exhale, pull it over to the right. Slowly breathing out, then inhale, open up the shoulder and chest, look up. Exhale, further over, further down. Opening as far as you can with an even amount of pressure in the feet before holding for one breath. Inhale, rise back up, and exhale, let's go in that water direction one more time and clear our energy. Hands down to the sides. Let's twist open the arms and look over our left shoulder as far as you can. Exhale and slowly come back to front. And then twist the arms open and twist the spine out to the opposite side. Breathing in, full breath in here, and slow breath out, returning back to center. Inhale like opening 2 doorknobs with your hands and looking over your shoulder. Exhaling, back to front, relaxing. Good. Let's keep going. Inhaling, back over to the right, twisting as far as you can. Exhale, back to front. Inhale. Exhale. Twisting not just into the spine here, but into all of your connective tissues and vital organs. Filling up with fresh new breath, oxygenated breath into your blood. Let's shake it out. Come back to front and release anything. Good. Now let's open and close the spine. So go ahead and exhale and hang in a ragdoll for a moment. Relax your shoulders, arms, neck, and head all the way down. And let the blood flow to the arms, neck, and head. Slow breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. Cross the arms and gently sway from side to side, really loosening up your spine and neck. Then bob the body forwards and back. Moving into shaking out your head. Big yeses and big no's. Put the whole thing together and just shake everything out. Loosen up your whole torso, arms, neck, and head. Maybe tracing your crown in infinity loop, spiraling. And then exhale and relax it all out and down. Take some slow breaths to peel your spine all the way up to standing, saving your neck and head for last. Then once we're up, we'll inhale and open up the chest, back bend a bit. Exhale, rise back up to standing, and slowly come all the way down into a ragdoll again. Inhale, peel up. Exhale, back bend. Inhale, rise back up. Exhale, slowly peel down. Inhaling again, rising up. And exhale, back bend. Really getting good forwards and backwards arch in that spine. Loosen up the whole torso, arms, legs, hips, neck, and head. And let's roll out the shoulders. Inhale, forwards and up. Exhale, back and down. Rolling out both shoulders as much as you can, creating tension on the inhale, rising up, and releasing the tension going down. Then we'll go one at a time. Rotating one shoulder forwards and back, and then the other shoulder. Slowly begin to lift the arms higher and higher until we're going into big back strokes, as if swimming in that freezing cold water back there. They might be swimming a little bit more frantically than this. Nonetheless, keep your breath flowing, filling into your shoulders. Then let's reverse. Big forward strokes now. Arms extended. And then we'll slowly begin to decrease the height of the arms, steadily bringing them lower and lower and lower until they're finally rotating just around the shoulders. Full breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth, and then inhale back and up, exhale forwards and down. Really loosen up those shoulders where they connect with the neck and the spine, and then let's shrug them out, bounce them out, loosen them up. Then let's get into those elbows. Reach the arms forwards with thumbs over closed fists. Rest your elbows down as if on a desk, and then rotate your hands in circles around them. Inhaling as the hands move away, feel the stretch right here. Exhale, bring them back together and into the chest. Keep flowing and lubricate those elbow joints a few times in one direction, and then we'll reverse it back in the opposite direction. Still inhale, opening, exhale, closing. Final exhale, bring them in and lower the energy back down. Wiggle out the arms, keep them loose, keep everything flowing. Shake them out kind of like chicken wings. And then interlace the fingers, bring the palms together, and trace out infinity loops leading with the thumbs. Still timing your breath with this. We want to keep the breath and body always moving together to not retain any tension. So maybe you breathe in for an infinity loop, breathe out for an infinity loop, and slowly start to make those infinity loops bigger and bigger, extending the arms out steadily more and more. Filling your lungs until the arms are all the way outstretched, expanding those infinity loops as big as you can. And then you'll slow it down and retrace the steps back in the pinky finger direction. Reverse infinity loops with your breathing, steadily getting smaller and smaller until you're just rotating around those wrists. If this is really tricky for you, just go in the direction that you're used to, visualize that infinity loop, and just retrace your steps back in the pinky direction. This is a new motor skill which we'll be learning here shortly during the class. Good. Shake out the wrists, gently side to side, up and down. Once again, shake out the whole body. And center your awareness back in your low abdomen with the palm over palm connection. Checking back in with yourself. Good. Let's get into the prop. Picking up the rope dart, let's start with securing the leash. So you're going to want to have an anchor arm in which the tether is wrapped around the wrists. I have just a basic little loop with the tether going through that loop so it can tighten very easily around my wrist. The other hand will serve as my lead hand. Now we want to find the right length. My tether is a bit short. What you'll want is to hold the tether out with the arms outstretched like a T, and the head of the rope dart should hang a few inches above the ground. Once you've got the proper length figured out, let's go into some basic extensions. Now what you're going to do is bring your anchor hand to your lead hand and take just a little bit of the rope, maybe a foot, foot and a half, and we're just going to experiment with a basic pendulum in a wall plane. Notice how my anchor hand is feeding my lead hand that excess rope to extend it a little bit more on both the left and the right sides. Get used to this motion as this is going to be really key moving forwards. Steadily extend out more rope, extending the rope dart further and further, and we'll transition it into a hall plane as if I was looking down a hallway at you, extending it forwards and back. And then back into the wall plane, getting more and more. Take your time with this. You don't have to go quite as quickly as I am here, but what we're going for essentially is extending the full rope dart out to the sides as well as forwards and back. Getting used to this motion and extending with that anchor hand going all the way to the lead hand and pulling it back enough so that it doesn't hit the ground. Once again, going forwards and back from the wall plane to the hall plane. And then I'll highlight this little moment here where I got back at one of those mosquitoes. Anyways, drill this a number of times as this is going to be your fundamental skill here in rope dart. You're going to use this to transfer between many different tricks. Once you've got that down, we'll move into just a basic orbit or a basic spin. Starting off in the wall plane as if there's a wall right in front of you, and then turning 90 degrees to your right into a hall plane. Getting used to those two in both directions. Switching the direction of the rope dart. In one direction it appears to be going forwards, in the other direction it appears to be going in reverse. Understand which way is going to be your forwards and reverse. You'll notice if it were a wheel, this is also known as a wheel plane, it would go forwards on the forwards direction and the wheel would go reverse on the reverse direction. Now let's get into cross points. Your body is symmetrical down the midline. And if we were to extend that midline all the way out, these would be all of your cross points right between your feet, all the way forward to the camera and up and overhead. So this is going to be the line in which we're going to focus on a point and use to turn the rope dart to the other side of the body. Go ahead and do that now in the forwards direction, crossing from top to bottom, so the arms across the body, and then top to bottom coming back. Essentially tracing a diagonal X with your rope dart head. Doing your best to hit that cross point out in front of you, whatever it is. Be careful that you don't extend too far and actually hit it, until you can go back and forwards, tracing an infinity loop with the rope dart, turning it from one side of the body to the other, doing one orbit on one side of the body, one orbit on the other side. Notice how I'm doing this nice and relaxed. I don't need to add excess energy to the prop. I can focus on my breath and my posture and the shifting of weight with my hips going left and right. Now let's switch direction and go in reverse. Still picking out that same cross point, but now going from bottom to top as I hit it. Reverse direction, bottom to top, reverse cross point. This is that reverse infinity loop we were talking about here, this new motor skill. This might be the first time you feel really challenged in this practice. But take your time with it, focus on your breath, and go bottom to top. And bottom to top again, coming back to the original side. Doing this slowly and steadily until you can go back and forth and tracing that infinity loop steadily, doing one orbit on each side. Mastering the forwards and reverse cross points is going to be the fundamental key of learning about how to turn the prop around your body, guaranteeing that it won't hit your person. This is key, so be sure to master it. Now let's switch hands. I highly recommend as flow artists that we become ambidextrous. So especially if you're a newbie, go ahead and switch the anchor arm and the lead arm so that you can get used to what it's like on the opposite sides. Do your extensions switched, starting in the exact same way as you did before. And if you're having trouble with your non-dominant hand, just go back to what is normal for you and then switch it as before and recognize that it's just a mirrored motion. The easier you can do this and train both sides of your body instead of just one, the more equalized everything's going to be. And if you go into becoming a performer, you'll rest assured that if one side gets tired, you'll be able to do the other side. Do your orbits switched, rotating around in that wall plane. Big orbits. Also, getting into the full extensions with your other side. Switching direction of the orbit back and forth. And then also going into that hull plane or wheel plane. Getting used to noting which way is forwards, which way is reverse. You'll notice if I shorten the tether a lot, the speed will increase, and the further out I extend it, the slower it goes. Getting into a point where your arm is more or less relaxed. The tether is as far extended as it can without the head hitting the ground. You're going to want to get familiar with that basic length of how close to the ground you can get, because this is also going to give you the max amount of time that you'll need in order to do wraps and different tricks. Do your cross points switched, forwards cross point top to bottom, tracing that X or that infinity loop. You can mirror me here. You can also mimic me if you like by facing away and just looking over your shoulder, going back and forth, noting what this side feels like and just breathing into it. Once again, suggesting going back to your dominant side, doing it, and then switching hands immediately and just thinking it's just a mirrored direction. Now let's go reverse cross points from bottom to top. Bottom to top. It's not much harder to train yourself to become ambidextrous, and that little bit of extra investment is really worth the time, so I highly recommend it. I can do all of my tricks, both sides, no problem. Going back and forth with your reverse cross points on the opposite side. Breathing into it, slow breaths into your nose, full breaths out your mouth. Ingrain it into your deeper tissues, into your muscle memory. Feel it throughout your whole body. Going forwards once again, showing it to you from the side here. You'll notice how my wrist opens and closes. Key motion that. All right, let's go back into our original side and continue on the practice. Moving into the 4 directions, turning 360 degrees, 90 degrees at a time. This time as you hit your forwards cross point, turn into it. So from the hull plane to the wall plane and back. Turning into your other wall plane, you'll realize you don't have to hit a cross point. You can just turn that direction and then turn back, no problem. But on the other side, hit the cross point and turn into it. Hit the other cross point and turn back to facing front. Turn to the other side and get used to these directions at first. These forwards directions are going to be a bit easier for you. Cross point, turn. And now let's reverse it. So turn the other side, facing away from me, going into a reverse cross points. Reverse cross point, turn, back to the left side, and then back to front. Let's go back in the opposite direction. Reverse cross point, turn to face away from me, and then turn back into that wall plane and back to front. Easy, right? It might not be super easy for you. That's okay. Just keep practicing and keeping those planes nice and flat, as this is going to be the key in order to not hit yourself. If you need to, you can practice in front of a wall or in an actual hallway if you have one available to you. You can also use a tree or a pole or another person or a couple people if they'll trust you. Now let's do the basic leg wrap turn. We'll wrap it around the inside of our thigh and pull it over to the opposite side. Then wrap it to the outside of our thigh and pull it back to the original side. Here it is in half speed. I bring it just to the inside of my thigh, right above the knee, and as it wraps, I pull it over to the opposite side. Notice how this is a cross point. The dart moves across my body from top to bottom. Now let's switch legs, bring it to the outside of the opposite thigh, and pull it over to the other side with the arm crossed across your body. Going back and forth, here again it is in half speed. You can get right underneath the knee, though I recommend get just above the knee. And you bring your hand right down to that point. Lead the lead hand right down to the bottom of the thigh. And practice with both legs going back and forth. Taking your time, you don't have to once again go as quickly as I am. It's better for you to practice once or twice slowly in your own timing than try to speed things up, add too much energy, lose conscious focus, and not build the muscle memory correctly. Getting used to that, and we'll put it all together into the final pivoting leg turn, where we'll learn how to actually turn the body by doing a leg wrap. So put it to the outside, pivot on your standing foot, and turn it to the other side facing away, and then bring it back once again. Notice the direction. I'm going in a reverse direction, so I wrap around the outside of that left thigh and the inside coming back. Practice one side a few times and then move to the other side, inside to outside, pivoting on the standing foot that's not being wrapped around. Notice I'm facing backwards to I'm facing forwards. More or less, you can go as much as you like, but just get used to what it's like to turn the body around while doing a leg wrap, as this also is going to be really key. A very basic move, maybe a little bit more tricky for you, especially if you're not used to balancing. If you need to, you can do one of my yoga for balancing classes right here on the Full Circle Phenomenal channel. And before long, you're going to be an acrobat at this, and that's what really becomes impressive with the rope dart skills, when you can do all sorts of crazy tricks using your whole body. Soon we're going to be getting into basic arm wraps, basic neck and body wraps. They're all related together. I'll show you that in the next video. Don't forget to switch hands and master this on both sides, getting back into your 4 directions switched around 90 degrees at a time, turning using those cross points. Be sure to go in both directions with that 360 degree circle. And then we'll do leg wraps or turns with the legs switched, getting used to one side. Here's the half speed once again for your mirror neurons to pick up on ever more. I really encourage you to take just the necessary small baby steps that are working well for you. Slower is faster. The slower you can go, the faster you're going to learn. We'll conclude this practice with hands together in a gentle bow. Thank you so much for watching and practicing with me today. And don't forget to subscribe as you see this big piece of glacier fall into the water. Learn more flow arts by clicking this video link, and check out our journey driving around the whole world by clicking this one. Thank you again so much for being here today. See you around the world.